Yo guys, what is good? As here once again with another Genshin Impact video, and today I wanted to talk quickly about the artifact sets and which one is in my opinion the best to farm. So let's get into that. Alright, so let's quickly go over the different sets. So you have a bunch. These ones I haven't yet unlocked, but Gambler is pretty good, although that drops at later levels. These ones, they all drop at later levels. So let's quickly go over some of them. So you can see here, defenders will set piece, base defense 30 and increase elemental resistance. This is most likely an artifact set that is very good. However, very limited in terms of usage because there aren't many characters that scale up on defense. Noelle is basically the only one that comes to mind right now. Lava Walker, another set that becomes maybe more important in the later stages of the game, where you actually want to increase your resistance against a certain element. And we have this one here, Thunder Soother, and I believe there's two more against the elements. Anyway, these sets very cool to have in a later game stage when you can get the 4-piece set, because they increase your damage against a certain element if you build your team around them. However, in the beginning, not that important. The Noblesse set. I think this is one of the craziest sets if you can get good pieces for it. So, the 2-piece sets, elemental burst damage increased by 20%. So if you have some characters that can deal crazy and fast amount of elemental burst damage, like for example Diluc, like Changyong, this set can be incredibly good on them because they can use their burst damage so frequently. And then using an elemental burst increases all party members' attack by 20%. This is pretty nutty. So you might have seen this on other content creators' channels, but there is a thing called snapshotting in the game. And how this basically works is that abilities that are affected by a certain stat count are, they increase. So how this essentially works is you cast an ability and it increases your attack power, right? And during that duration, it doesn't matter if the character is out or not, as long as you're afflicted by the buff, your next abilities will be based on that value. And if you can have another like attack buff that basically has a similar value, then you can overwrite it at some point. It depends on the ability, however, that says it. Like this effect cannot stat, so you cannot have two Noblesse Oblige sets, but you can stack it with other sets as well. So this set pretty good on some bursty characters if you get good pieces. Bloodstained Chivalry is it depends really on your build. So I wish I had more of this set on my Fischl, because I want to build my Fischl for physical damage and have her elemental damage as an addition. However, I didn't get enough pieces for that yet. After defeating an opponent, increases charge damage by 50% and reduces its stamina cost to 0 for 10 seconds. That is pretty cool if you have somebody who has a quick charge attack. So I use this, or I use my charge attack mostly on my sword users, because I can just do it very quickly. On somebody like the Claymore users, I use it less often, so I would not use the Bloodstained Chivalry set on them necessarily. Then we go to the resistance sets, or the defensive sets. So once you get into the stage where you actually get a 4-piece set, then having one piece of this set with a pretty good roll, so they have to match up your other sets, will be pretty helpful. And there's quite a few of them. I believe I have some more of them. Nothing to see it. I might have just 3-star pieces. So these are all 4-star pieces. So I don't have a lot of them flying around. This Lucky Dog's Hourglass, so the Lucky Dog set. I don't know. I would not use it. Percentage increases are usually better, and again, there isn't many heroes that benefit from defense, so it's a mediocre set in my opinion. The Martial Artist set, this one again is like a good set when you have 4 pieces. So it increases normal attack and charge damage attack by 15. This is pretty cool overall. If you have characters like, for example, your bow users, where you use a lot of their auto attacks, or for example, somebody like Zhang Ling, she uses her auto attack most of the time, and then after using elemental skill, increases normal and attack, increases normal attack and charge attack damage by 25%. So I think once you have a 4-piece set, that can get pretty crazy, and you can have that on multiple characters. So this one, I believe, can actually be snapshotted, so that one is pretty cool if you have the certain pieces. Thundering Fury. This one is my favorite set to have on somebody like Fischl or somebody like Razor when I want to use their elemental damage. Pretty cool set. You have these sets in for all these different elements. Let me quickly see. I don't have another set. So for example, the Pyro set or the Cryo set, I don't have them currently as at 4 stars. So but yeah, they basically do the same. Pretty cool if you want to go more into an elemental build. Is this better than an attack build? Debatable. So attack increases your overall damage, and you need to already have a good amount of attack in order for this electro damage bonus to actually take good effect. On somebody like Fischl, because she scales so high, this could actually be pretty good for the bird Oz when she drops it, because that thing deals insane amount of damage. Adventurer set is your beginning set. Yeah, translate out of it as soon as you can, because like the max HP and stuff, it's always better to kill faster than trying to get a little bit more survivability when you lose so much damage. 15% increased attack or elemental damage is most certainly worth more than 1000 max HP if you lose damage with them. If you have really good pieces, by all means use them, but I would use them as a 5th piece where the set bonus doesn't necessarily matter. Let's skip over that set. Wondrous Troop. Increases elemental mastery by 80 and increases charge attack damage by 35 if a character uses a catalyst or bow. Let's quickly go to the instructor set. You can see the instructor is kind of the same with the elemental mastery, and then after using elemental skills, increases all party members' elemental mastery by 120. Elemental mastery itself doesn't do much if you don't pair it with a good amount of attack. If you have a good amount of attack, I would actually say that this piece is better than the Wandering Troop, the Wanderer's Troop. The charge attack damage, I don't know how often you actually go into a fight and charge your damage up with a bow user. I myself have not used a lot of magic characters, so and even if like Lisa was the only one where I used the charged attack a lot of times, so yeah, that's a mediocre set. Maiden Beloved, I have it on my Chi-Chi because I use her as my soul healer for most part. So the 2-piece healing effectiveness is pretty good because she heals in the background. And then using an elemental skill or burst increases healing received by all party members by 20%. And basically this is so good on Chi-Chi. She uses her E and increases the healing for all members. You attack a little bit and everybody gets healed by so big amounts that I can run her as my soul healer for almost every party without having to worry. Awesome set. Braveheart. One of the better sets, especially good for characters that don't have a super burst ability where you don't just nuke an enemy down from 100 to 0 in a couple seconds. So most of my sword users would have something like this because they don't have the crazy insane ability to just drop a hero. There are exceptions like Kaching or like Baidu that I think this would be pretty cool on. So how I would play this with Kaching is basically have a 4 set. You hit on the enemy, hit on an enemy, hit on an enemy, and for Baidu, she gets the revenge and she just drops them from 60 to 0 because that's what she does. And then this works out pretty well. Braveheart, a pretty good set. In general, all sets with attack bonus are pretty good. Then next up we have the Scholar. So there's a couple of sets that actually do similar things. So this is a 2-piece set with energy recharge 20, and then gaining energy gives 3 energy to all party members who have a bow or a catalyst. And then you have the Exile set that does the same using blah blah blah. Gives it to all party members regardless of their weapon type, right? And so you cannot stack the Exile set. However, you can combine it with this set. If you have, for example, like a Barbara, a lot of you have a Barbara in their team, so this set would be pretty good because she would constantly gain energy to heal your team and give energy to your other team members. And if you have both of those sets on somebody in your team, then you could essentially gain a lot of energy. This is important if you build around somebody like Bennett or Razor. Those two, they use a lot of elemental, and so they need to get their energy recharge in a couple of seconds so you can burst the enemy down. And I wouldn't necessarily want to waste the pieces on them necessarily, because I want to equip them with a little bit more damage even. So if you have just 2 pieces here, I wouldn't worry about it, only if you can get a 4-piece, and these should go onto your support members. Then Traveling Doctor, it's basically a poor man's maiden beloved. Translate out of it when you can. Then Resolution of Sojourner. This one is, so let's go to the Braveheart again. So we have the Braveheart set that increases attack by 18. Then the Resolution increases charge attack crit rate by 30. And that is it. So those two pieces, they go hand in hand. However, I would prefer the Braveheart set over the Sojourner, simply because, again, charge damage, like charged attacks, aren't that frequently used. If you use them with your Claymore users very often, then yes, put them on there, because it will increase your overall damage output. If you don't plan on having a 4-piece set on it, the 2-piece bonus is great, and I usually, if I don't have a Braveheart set, a 2 set, then I will opt for this one. Berserker set is your most universal set. If you can get a 4-piece set, put it on your damage dealers. They will do great, especially on somebody like Kaching, because she is based around crit damage. You want to use that. And then, yeah, we talked about those pieces already. And lastly, we go over the Gladiator set. And the Gladiator set is, in my opinion, the best set available if you are at world level 4. So why is that? As for the Brave set, or for the Sojourners, how do you pronounce that? I will call it Resolution set. As for the Braveheart or the Resolution set, it gives 18% attack, so this is overall pretty good, but this is not what makes it special. The 4-piece is, if the wielder of this artifact set uses Swords, Claymore, or Polearm, increase their normal attack damage by 35%. This is nuts. And if you would bring a set like this, unfortunately, I don't have a full set that I can use yet, but if you have a full set of that with good attack rolls, you're getting so much out of this. You're getting 35% attack damage for normal attacks. And let's quickly try and do a standard rotation for Diluc. So you have your auto attack into E, into auto attack, E dash, auto attack, E dash, and then I fall off. And then you can do 2 auto attacks again, and you have your E ready. So let me try this quickly again. Auto attack, E, auto attack, E, dash, auto attack, E, dash, and auto attack. So that is what, 8 to 10 auto attacks that you're doing, and these are all getting multiplied by the 35% damage. So a character like Razor, for example, I play way more on their elemental abilities, where a lot of their damage comes from my E ability and going into the Q, and then I do autos. So I'm not 100% sure if they are actually getting empowered, because I don't have a full set. I will definitely test that out, but I don't want to give you sort of false impressions if I haven't tested it out yet. Yeah, so the Gladiator set, all in all, is one of, if not the best sets that you can have early on, and also pretty much through late game. And this is one of the sets that you can actually farm pretty reliably, and in a way, it is one set that you will farm either way, regardless of what you're doing, because all the boss monsters drop it. If you check the boss monsters, so these ones, they all drop the gladiator's finale here. Then in Dewey as well. Here, here, and there. So you have 6 places that you constantly want and need to farm in order to get this. While if you go for something like the domains, you have to really deal with a lot of the non-desired sets. This one is basically the most desired set, so you kind of dump it down and it only gives you 15% unless you get a full set. Full set is pretty awesome. In my opinion, at least until you get adventurous rank 40 or 45, don't necessarily bother with these elemental dungeons. So the ones where you can gain the elemental damage, because you cannot drop 5 stars yet. These all are unlocked at 40, while these ones you can drop 5 stars, but the chances are so low. But usually you still get a good 4-star piece, and I hope you took something away from that, that there's some of the pieces are pretty good and usable, and some of the pieces are decent in a 2 set. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, consider subscribing, leave a like, do all the good stuff. As always, it was a pleasure to have you here, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, enjoy the grind.